What's up, YouTube? MC Basketball IQ back again for another upload. We've got film review of this Florida versus Uconn game at Madison Square Garden, which turned out to be a very close to home game for Uconn crowd-wise, and obviously geographically that makes sense. I don't think it played a major role, but obviously it never helps to be having a whole arena cheering against you as Florida faced here. Another tough loss that's close at the end and just can't get over the hump. I think these games will pay dividends come March. Hopefully, the team stays together through it. I think that's always the risk you run playing a schedule like this, but I don't think that they'll have an issue knowing the proof of concept's there with last year's run. I think you can always point to that, and it's hard not to buy in when you know what the ultimate goal is and you know that this works to get you there. We're going to go through the offense first and then some defense. For offense, some major points I thought we could look at is Xavier Lee. His mid range and 2 point scoring in this game was much improved. I think that's a good way to get him rolling, get his confidence and rhythm within this offense going, is to maybe loosen the reins a little bit. And if I had to guess, being the analytical mind that Todd Golden is, he probably isn't preaching to shoot very many mid range. And if that gets Xavier Lee's confidence up, it gets his rhythm going, you live with a few of those early on in the season, and hopefully it translates to the 3 point shot as we get going. Um, I thought that there was some instances in this game where two bigs was kind of bogging down the spacing within the paint once again. I also think that Todd Golden did a few really good things with two bigs where he spaced Condon out to the perimeter in different positions and manipulated the help. And I thought it was a really, really genius move there. And then my third point on offense is just spacing, spacing, spacing. Not just the two bigs, but overall. I think if you watch the first video, I talked about being in that deep corner, fighting for every inch of the court that you could to stretch the defense is going to show up big in this game. Defensively, one thing I saw that was promising is I thought Urban was much improved. He was day and night on the ball, off the ball defense, chasing people through screens, being physical, and doing a really good job on the ball. I do think he's the culprit of a few miscommunications on switches, but overall, when his one track mind is to chase his man through screens and then guard the ball, I thought he was pretty impressive in this game, especially against solo ball. I went through and charted it. I think he gave up 2 points the entire game to solo ball as he was guarding them, and obviously that wasn't his primary matchup a majority of the game, but still did a fantastic job. On the flip, I thought Xavier Lee struggled defensively. I think he was a little bit late, and he shot some gaps, cheated some plays, and it made up for it. But also, I wonder if he's guessing on that or if he truly processes at that speed. If he's truly processing and he's certain in his decisions to shoot gaps and try to get steals, I think that's a really dangerous weapon for them. But conversely, I think it's a really dangerous game you're playing if you're guessing on some of it too. Well, time will tell on some of that for us, but I thought he fell asleep quite a bit, and just for a split second. It's not like he's getting left in the dust. It's just him not being in the best position he could possibly be in, chasing through screens. Uh, I alluded to it. My third point, I think there were some botched switches, not just with Urban, but throughout the game. But I think part of that is just the scout prep that came into this one. They did some different things with different players, so it takes that split second to process. Okay, who am I guarding? Who's switching? And that can be hard on college players quite a bit. I think the NBA and pro leagues around the world do a great job of it, because they just have to focus on basketball 24/7. When you're struggling for getting in the gym, going through scouts, the team meetings, combine all that with being a student athlete, it's hard to retain it all and be second nature by the time the game rolls around. But no, I think Florida primarily did a great job defensively, outside of those few lapses in coverage. Let's jump into the film here, starting with the offensive side of the ball. So on offense, to start the game, like I talked about, we spaced Condon out to the wing, and that opens up the court quite a bit here for just people to get the looks they want. Again, I would love to see a pass up towards the rim towards for the lob for Ruben on this. We don't make the pass. They put 2 on the ball. That's okay. We get to the next action. But Condon's got the right mindset. He's flying into it. Boogie relaxes after this pass. I'm going to be a little critical of him in this game. I've been pretty disappointed because I think he's so talented that some of his habits just aren't to the elite championship level that Florida, quite frankly, needs them to be. You were brought in to be this guy, so going to coach you like you are supposed to be this guy. So can't relax here. Now you're late on your cut to the basket. You're supposed to be burning here as soon as Condon starts that dribble in your direction. But because you relax, because you float, you're a little late. Doesn't kill us, but we're not getting every opportunity that we need to be as successful and efficient as possible. I think that leads to us taking a pretty tough shot here. Don't love this one by Tommy. 13 seconds on the shot clock. Off the dribble. Still getting late contest that deep. It's just a tough one. I think screening angles are important in this game, especially outside of the scoring area, really. Uconn was being pretty deliberate with going under quite a few screens, and Florida did the same to Uconn, and Uconn didn't do a great job adjusting. They're still pretty efficient on offense, but I think Florida's under coverage on some of these ball screens is great. Part of that is the big needs to adjust their screening angle. This is the first time Condon's setting a screen in the game out here. So he's a little high, makes it an easy under, which is fine because we come back with the rescreen. And I think he does a great job of being below the man, eliminating the chance to go under again. And most teams won't go under because you're in the paint at that point. But out here, there's a risk of going under and terminating your actions. So the fact that Alex recognizes that and does a good job setting this screen really low, he gets a good piece of them, and then we just keep the offense flowing, which is really good. I said it in the intro. I think they identified Caravan as more of a guard, even though he plays the 4 for Uconn a lot, and they took advantage. Anytime Alex Condon could go one-on-one with him in the post, any of the forwards, Florida was more than happy to do so. On this clip, we have the weave to step-up ball screen for Florida, and it turns into an offensive foul for an illegal screen. A lot of the time here, I try to give the big the benefit of the doubt because the guard needs to be patient and waiting on them, and that's true here. But also, I think he tiptoes out here quite a bit, and it throws off the timing. Xavier Lee feels the pressure and starts going too early. Combine those two things, you get the illegal screen, a foul on Ruben, and a turnover. So a double whammy there. Okay, so we're talking about transition a little bit in this game. Micah does a great job. You only see the tail end of it here. He's playing drop coverage on this ball screen. Takes that little stunt at the ball, makes him pick it up, which is great. Xavier Lee gets back into play also. Great effort. And right here, Micah gets a hand on this ball. Now, at this point, we're in transition. I'm trying to reward my big. Every time he makes a play that helps me out as a guard, I'm going to try to reward him on the other end. So he books it. He outruns Terrace Reed on this transition to offense here. And that's an easy dump off to him. He's going to take one dribble, be at the rim for either a dunk or a layup, or getting fouled by their best big man, putting more pressure on him to make plays defensively. We don't get it, and to me that's a missed opportunity. We still score here because of some great pick and roll game, and it actually ends up going to Micah, but again, process oriented rather than result driven. I would love to see us reward the hustle, reward the big man there in transition. So here we go to the next part of this action, which is going to be the ball screen. We'll talk about it more on, I think it's the next clip or one of the following clips here. When they put 2 on the ball, you got to get it to the screener as soon as you can, because then you're playing advantage basketball down towards the rim here. So Xavier Lee does a great job recognizing it. You either want to hit a bounce pass through this pocket here. Uconn does a great job of having their hands low and active. So Xavier Lee recognizes that, gets it over the top to Condon. Now it's 2-on-1 at the rim. Easy decisions for your bigs, and leads to a dump off for a dunk. Talked about this in the intro. To get Xavier Lee going, you're going to live with a few off the bounce mid-range shots for him. You've seen him do it at Princeton. It's what you brought him here to do. Just because he struggled, you've got to find a way for him to get in a rhythm, and I think this is a great job for him, because once you start getting to these types of shots, it's a lot of muscle memory. You stop thinking so much. I think a lot of his misses have been mental. And at this point, he's just playing instinctive basketball. All right. We got another transition clip here on offense, and I put it in the notes at the bottom. You can't play fast if you don't run fast. Maybe it's not Florida's MO. Again, this is my opinion on everything. I don't know what's being taught in the film room. I don't know what they're practicing. But based off last year, they love playing fast. They love living in transition. And if you're not going to run fast, you can't play fast. So there's a great option here to showcase that. Watch Boogie Fland. Watch Alex Condon. Micah's not the fastest player on the court, but he's looking like it. And because of that, you can't get downhill. You can't attack in transition because at this point, you don't have any help. So typical of those situations leads to either a bad shot or a turnover here by Tommy. And now your advantage is lost. They're going the other way in transition, so it puts a lot of stress on you the other way now. Okay, so on this one, another manipulation of their too big spacing, which was a great call by Todd Golden. You're going to put Condon in the corner, and again, he's a good enough shooter where you can't completely disrespect him out there. And you put Urban on the block. Now Urban's man's going to be the helper, and watch this roll replace action to remove the help. One teaching point on the Uconn side, a lot of the time when you get these flat ball screens, you want to weak it, which means sending the ball handler to his weak hand, just what it sounds like. So you would like to see Silas kind of influence it to the left hand here. The big's calling out for it, and you're going to see he jumps out there. If you call that coverage and you get beat back to the strong hand, there's no help, and it puts the defense in a really tough situation. So to me, this is pretty unacceptable defensive effort. Now Xavier Lee's downhill. Micah's not even going to roll because it's such a bad blow by. Urban's going to lift, and that takes the help out of there. Now Caravan's stuck with the decision. Do I stay out here on Condon, or do I help out and take away the easy routine layup? I think he makes the right decision bailing out and fully committing to stopping the layup just because you play the percentages there. Condon recognizes it, makes a great cut from the corner to the rim, and ends up getting fouled going strong to the rim. I love that from Florida. So I want to talk about the ball screen attack here versus the hedge when Uconn traditionally has done this, and they've put two people on the ball on these ball screens just to help and get back to the roller afterwards. So what Florida's doing a great job of is playing in those short rolls and playing versus the disadvantaged defense, advantage for the offense. You'll see it again here. Condon sets this screen. You get two on the ball. And again, you just want to get the ball to Condon with his momentum going to the rim, but as soon as you can. So now he's going to be playing 2-on-1, 3-on-2. Makes a great pass here to Tommy. And let me be very, very clear. When I talk about not wanting to play Tommy at the 3, it's not because of his lack of skill. It's more so the spacing that gets affected from whoever is playing the 4 there. All right, so on this clip, it's kind of the opposite, not doing our job as the ball handler, hitting the short. And maybe that's because it's Ruben. You don't want to put him in a decision-making role. But I think if you're able to put him in a decision where it's A, B, and that's it, it simplifies the game enough for him to let instincts take over, and you almost live with the results no matter what he does here. Again, Xavier Lee leaves early. This one is fully on him. If they get called for an illegal screen, I would blame that 100% on him just because of how early he leaves. Puts Ruben in a tough decision. Do I set the screen or do I slip out of there? But he wants to make sure he initiates the help because now look at it. If you can get that ball to him through that pocket, it's a little tighter. Again, if you wait on the screen, maybe the timing's better. Maybe you get a better option to get the ball to Ruben. But right here, Ruben's wide open. He's going to be in the paint when this pass gets to him. And then it's going to be him and Tommy versus this one defender once again. Very similar to the dump off you saw to Condon for the foul where he got fouled. But nonetheless, we miss it. We come back to Ruben on the post up, but now he's posting up like way out here. He's got a like matchup, so it's not a great advantage in the post. He's too far from the basket to be a no move needed or a one move needed finish. So now you got him taking multiple dribbles, pivoting, and trying to finish over a like size defender. And Florida in the first half was 4 for 13 on layups because you're getting shots like this, and that's just not efficient basketball for them. So on this clip, again, another way to attack the hedge is what I like to call the Scotty Wilbekin special. My dad pointed it out to me back when Scotty played. It was actually, he put on a clinic every time somebody hedged. He waited for the big who's hedging to turn around to get back to his man, and he drove that vacated space so well. And I think Xavier Lee does a great job of it here. He's patient, stringing out the defense. The hedge turns his back to him, and now he's downhill right where he was. Getting to the rim, easy dump off to Ruben. Those are great plays. Again, shout out to Scotty Wilbekin. Gator great. All right, we got another opportunity for Xavier Lee to create off the bounce here. Again, I'm living with some of these in the meantime until he gets the confidence, gets the rhythm going. Great highlight play. When the defender's falling like that, you are basically shooting a warm-up jumper. So great move, attacking the switch, attacking the bigger defender, gets his feet together, makes him stumble. And again, at this point, that's a warm-up jump shot. Fantastic. I'm living with it. I think Todd Golden's loving to see it, just the confidence and the second nature ability of just to score the ball, man. Because at the end of the day, once he clears that mental block, if he can unlock some of this shot making from the 3-point level, it opens up the offense so much for Florida. I think you're willing to live with a few of these right now to long-term success of the team into March. Now, conversely, we want to get good shots in rhythm as many times as we can. Boogie is a career 31% shooter. This is a huge possession for us. Huge possession. And I don't want to be too result-based. That's a step-back transition 3 over a late but like still a tall player contesting the shot. I don't love this one. I think this is a pretty big missed opportunity for Florida, especially when you're coming down, have the defense on their heels to bail them out with a step back. To me, a contested 3. I'll say it's lightly contested to be fair, but a step back contested 3 by a not great shooter. You just bail Uconn out there as you have them on their heels. You're about to take momentum. It's going to be a huge shot if it goes in, but to me that's hero ball and that's not winning basketball. I talk about playing Tommy at the 4 more. I think if he's the 4 in this situation and you have a duck in and he's the one delivering the pass up here, you have a much better chance to put the ball on target for a no move needed finish. And at this point, with how Condon has number 2 sealed here, this should be as easy as it gets for him. At the very least, you're getting another foul on one of their heavy rotation players. But this pass takes him out of the play, puts him in a tough spot. Now he's got to make a decision as he's collecting the ball, got 2 on him. But I just think if you get that pass on target, it just creates a much easier opportunity than anything else you can get, really. Like, you're getting an uncontested layup at that point, and that's going to be the highest percentage shot you can really get in the half court. All right, so this clip right here is exactly what I was talking about in the first video when I said Condon's thrown the ball out of bounds to the corner a few times just because he's so used to his guards being there. So say it with me. Deep corner. Deep corner. You're fighting for the spacing. Look at Boogie. Look how high he is right here. He gets down a little bit, but that's really not where your teammates are expecting you to be, and you see it. Rifles a pass right where he expected somebody to be in the deep corner. Throws his hands up because he just like, man, where are you? Why are you up in over the break of the 3-point line? Those are the possessions I'm talking about when I thought that it was going to be Condon throwing it out of bounds. This time it was Micah. And quite frankly, I'm pro Micah on this one. You got to be right there. If you're struggling from 3 like we just discussed, the best opportunity is going to be these catch and shoot wide open shots. And to get a lot of those, you got to be where your teammates expect you to be. If you're not there, now it's going to take a split second to find you, if they even find you at all, because they're not throwing the ball out of bounds. And that split second allows the defense to make the move and get to you to contest the shot. So when Florida goes for this 1-4-5 down the center line here, look, a lot of the times they're trying to get the 5 to duck in and just clear this guy out. It's not so much for Micah to score. He's going to be in great offensive rebounding position. 2 of the best teams in the country last year at offensive rebounding were Texas A&M with Buzz, who's now at Maryland coaching. But they ran this 1-4-5 down the center line, duck in for their guards to make plays and to clear the help out. and most of the time it's getting a shot up on the rim so you can then offensive rebound. In this case, Boogie Flan gets all the way to the rim and finishes, which is great because Condon seals that help out enough where he's not going to affect the shot. If anything, he's fouling Boogie. But Ruben does a fantastic job on this. He would put this guy outside the paint on the other side of the rim and make this such an easy layup. All right, we get the same look here, but it's going to be 1-5-4 in my opinion. I'm guessing Condon's the 4 in this. He doesn't get quite the same duck in, and you'll see the difference. I also think Xavier Lee here, because you're playing at a different level, initiating this contact is going to make it a lot harder. They allow a lot more physicality on drives in this league. You just need to get to the rim here. And maybe Condon does a good enough job sealing if you're going straight to the rim. But because you're hesitating, you're trying to initiate contact behind the play, and now you're scooping around, Caravan's able to get his arm through there. And again, you would love Condon's duck in to seal him out so he doesn't get that hand in there to get a block. And now you miss out on that opportunity. Great job staying with it by Condon. Again, if he's one-on-one with Caravan, Florida's loving this matchup. So that burn from the corner we saw with Condon being spaced out to the corner was great. A great read, great decision. Here, instead of the drive to the rim, you're getting a pass over the top to somebody that's sealing, which is great offense again. That's a much better pass than the one Ruben tried to deliver. But at the same time, now you got help coming because it's a lofted pass, it's high, and now the help's there. Tommy, the help's in the paint. Don't run to the help. Just stay spotted up. We'd love to see him in this deep corner again. But he tries to make the same cut that Condon made and get fouled at the rim. But there's just too much traffic in there. At that point, you got to hold in that corner and be ready for the shot. So here, another trend I'm noticing is as good of a rebounding team as Florida is, I think that the bigs are compensating quite a bit for the guards. You'll see it on this one, especially Fland shows a late effort, but it's really just a lack of discipline and focus to box your man out as the shot goes up. And again, his bigs bail him out here. Gets blown by Condon, who has no idea that somebody's going to come in unblocked. I mean, he's just does a great job beating his man to the floor, or beating Boogie's man to the floor to fight for this ball and get us another possession. Now you'll see as we go this way why Tommy at the 3 is a great option still. Again, not a knock to Tommy's skill set. I see the appeal. To have somebody with his height and size on the perimeter, it's huge for the Gators because he can come in with his dribble handoff, sit behind and knock down a 3, or he can get downhill. So after that last 3, Florida called a timeout. They adjusted their lineup. Now you got Tommy at the 4, and you'll kind of see this high-low pass and why he makes it so easy on the other bigs, other players on the court. So he's here. He sees the matchup. He likes to have Ruben 2 feet in the charge circle. We're going there every time. We don't love the post-ups outside the paint, but if he can get 2 feet in the charge circle, one dribble, one move, finish. That's a good look for us. Now we're back to 2 bigs on the court. That's fine, but now we got a burn when you don't really need it. It just gets super congested. Now you got 2 bigs in the charge circle. That's 3 defenders and 3 offensive players, probably within a 6-foot radius of each other. I'm bad at geometry, so don't hate me on that measurement. If you're Hurley, you're cussing somebody out probably today, which is 2 days after this game, for bailing these guys out with a foul here. That's just undisciplined on defense. But man, the spacing, this is just a microcosm of kind of what I would see as an issue with some of these guards struggling to score at a high efficient rate. I mean, I want to make it as easy as possible. I don't want to bring a bunch more attention to them, a bunch more hands in the fire. It makes it tough. Now on this play here, to me, this is winning effort. If I'm on the Gators bench, I'm jumping up and down at the end of this clip because Condon's effort, the whole team's flying around. It's fantastic to see. So Condon's out of the play. He overran it a little bit, fights to get back in, gets the deflection. And a lot of bigs would make that deflection and kind of hope that Urban just steps over and bails them out with making another high-effort play. He doesn't do that. He gets right back out, contests this mid-range shot, and then watch the effort on the glass. We got bodies flying for Uconn. Ruben goes up and gets it, keeps his balance. That's a big man play right there. Now we're out in transition. We kick ahead, unselfish basketball. I would be going ballistic in the most positive way possible if I'm on the Gators bench there. That's a huge play to take the lead at 8 minutes left. What a game changer. That's winning effort. So here's a good instance of the spacing just being pretty tough out here with the bigs they have on the court. Ruben's on the wrong side of the rim, so now your roll is negated by just too much traffic on that side. You get a switch where you can attack a forward downhill. There's just not enough space there to really get to the rim. Now you're pivoting. Now you've got, again, 3 defenders in the paint, almost 4 offensive players within the same vicinity here. We'll call it 3.5. Sorry, 4 defenders in the paint. Didn't even see somebody because it's so congested down there. So now we get to the next action. By the way, underrated thing. You get here, you play off 2, you don't have what you like, so you just pull the ball out and get to your next action. That's great. That's, again, unselfish basketball. I think long term that'll translate to winning basketball for this team. Get to the next action. They switch it in a way that makes it really hard to drag this off. If you can get over this left foot of the defender and drag this off, I think that's your best bet. I hate stopping behind handoffs if it's not for an immediate shot. We drive right into the help. Condon's not really expecting that. He's looking at Ruben like, why are you down here, bro? Now it's just congested. It's a mess. Too many people in the paint. I think he gets hacked here. That's not really my job to ref. It's not the players' jobs to ref. And quite frankly, in physical, high-level games, you're going to miss some of these calls, and you got to make the next play. I'm guilty of it as anybody. If you ever see me on the sideline, I'm probably got my hands up yelling at the refs too, but we got to get back. We got to preach next play mentality as coaches, and we've got to make the next one. All right, so we got an Iverson cross screen action here. You want every cut to be a scoring cut, and against good teams, you're not going to get the looks on every single cut, which is fine. But as you come over the top here, you're hoping that the defender's trailing so much you can almost catch this ball and rip it baseline. As Tommy clears out, his guy's going to follow, and that manipulates the help defender because the ball changes sides of the court so much, and you're moving that help defender from side to side. It's not there. Again, you're not going to get that very often, especially against good teams. Then you go into this cross screen, big to big, and you're trying to isolate the matchup you want or beat the other big to the spot so you have a no-move finish where you just catch, turn, and finish. You're not shaking and baking down there. Here, you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get the late switch because he's trailing so bad, so you get the matchup you wanted, and this guy's out of position. Unfortunately, with the spacing, with the lack of shooting threat that they see with Alex Condon, if this guy can shoot, if it's Tommy, I'm firing it right back to him for the 3 here. He's diving. It's a very common way to negate the post trap, the post double, fire, whatever you want to call it. But he's not really a threat either. He kind of jogs it. I don't love the effort there. And now you've got 2 people on the ball. He can't see Condon on the other side. I don't think he's making himself hugely available to Ruben. I don't know if he's letting him know he's unguarded over there. I've seen Condon make this pass to Ruben plenty of times, and he's not getting the same love in return. And I think that's partly because Ruben's not the decision maker. He's not the passer that Condon, Tommy, and all these other bigs are, which is fine. Again, he has his other strengths. But right here, as 23 on Uconn goes down to take away Condon and help there, you've got to rifle that pass to Tommy. It looks like he's looking at it, so I don't know where his mind is going on this. This looks like a no-brainer decision and an easy play to make. Instead, he tries to finish over 2, and it's just not great for us. All right, so here we're going to get the matchup that Florida loves. Condon versus Caravan and just taking him down to the post. So we set the ball screen. We've been playing out of the shorts a lot when you get 2 on the ball. So what's Uconn do? They bring this guy in to tag the roller, take that away. Tommy should lift and be shot ready. He gets it. That's okay. That's great. But now you still have the throwback post-up look, is what I've always called that sequence of you throwing back to this guy who's lifting out of the corner. Your man who rolled is now turning around and ducking in and sealing. They get the look they want. They get the matchup they want. and now you're living with the result. They come and trap late. Condon, again, being a great player that he is, picks the ball up. He's ready to fire it to Tommy, and just that eye contact this way makes the defender jump up out of the play, and now great footwork, great balance to go finish at the rim. Next clip here, same deal, but we're going out of the Iverson. Instead of setting the cross screen for Ruben, they're going to have Condon posting up here. So you set that Iverson, you get the pass. Now you're trying to get Condon down there. They're not trying to switch this matchup, which is great for us. We want this. And now you live with the result. You go to work. Even if they get a little congested down here, you'd much rather Condon finishing over 2 than Ruben, in my opinion. As far as the spacing goes, this is kind of tough up here. You want to relocate where you can't just build a wall around the ball and not allow a pass out. But I like that shot. Ruben does what he does best, crashes the glass, is just a monster, gets fouled again. All right, so now we're at 2 minutes left in the game. It's a 6-point game. What are we going to do to get a basket? We really need a bucket on this possession. That's fine. We're in action. We're trying to get the ball moving. We're still moving it. We're still moving it. That's great. Uconn's flying around, man. Credit to them. They're playing great defense. We're getting a couple paint touches. That's good. But we're not forcing anything. So, again, that's fine. I'm good with this possession up to here. Now we're at 11 seconds. We have a chance to set another ball screen, keep the action going. 11 seconds is an eternity in basketball. Instead, we wave it off. We've got a guard on a forward, and we settle for that shot. I'm not in agreement on this being the best shot for us. And he airballs it. Not too far later in the game, still down by 8, a minute left. To me, Tommy Houck is going to be the guy for this team. He's the walking mismatch. If you're guarding him with a wing, he's more physical, he's bigger. If you're guarding him with a 4, he's faster and can do a lot of things. He can be really versatile for us here. I'm living with that shot, I know. So live, I agree. I thought this was a really quick 5-second call. I think we've seen it on social media now. Todd Golden says that their staff timed it and it wasn't quite 5 seconds. I've timed it here with my my millisecond counter. It's just over 5 seconds, which it's a tight whistle, but it's the right call, unfortunately. So let's transition to the defensive side of the ball here. We're going to go with first possession of the game. We see what Uconn wants to do early. They like Taurus Reed against Ruben, which to me that's a battle of titans, the clash of titans, however you want to say that phrase. But they're going to go to it early and often. They get him isolated, and they're letting him work. They're not really doing anything outside of letting him play one-on-one and saying this is the matchup we want, and we're good with it. I want to highlight some of Boogie's foul trouble in this game. It's not... He is getting a tight whistle, and that is unfair. But at that point, you got to make the adjustment. You can't put your hand on his back. If he loses balance like he does here, this ref sees your hand on his back, they're going to call it. It's unfortunate. It's ticky-tack, but it's what they're calling. You got to adjust. Put this clip in here. This is where you'd love to see Ruben evolve into this kind of player. Reed's, again, All-American candidate. If he can get to that level, you're obviously really, really dangerous with 2 All-American caliber bigs. And at that point, you justify playing Tommy at the 3. I don't think Ruben's this level yet, but teams are going to take you out of what you're doing, especially if you're switching. So Florida switches it out, denies it all, and now he's got a chance to go one-on-one. It's not crazy, cross, tween the legs, spins, all that. It's let me get to my spot. I'm going to switch hands when I need to just to gather some more space, and I'm initiating the contact. I'm getting to my spot, and I'm going to finish. If Ruben can develop into that kind of player, man, you go to another level as an offense too. This is the first instance I have of it. Xavier Lee being a little bit late, a little not locked in, getting screened, and that's a shot Uconn's okay with. With Ruben helping this much, you'd love to see a slip to the rim, hit 5, and then you're playing 2-on-1 against Condon. But just keep that in mind. They know that we're icing on the sides. Maybe they don't. They know we're at least in some sort of drop coverage because we play Ruben so far down to the rim. There's no help there. So this is a great simple action by Uconn to get the shot they want. Florida ends up trying to ice this, which means you're forcing the ball handler to go along the baseline towards the corner. You're going to flip your feet, flip your stance so he can't get middle. Ruben's going to stay between the ball and the basket this way. And because he's so deep in that drop coverage, this is a 2-dribble pull-up jump shot, wide open for a great shooter. Great action by Uconn, simple. I want to say this was scouted by Florida, the way they guarded this and were so sure in their switches. They triple switched the action, and at the end, that last screen needs a little bit better coverage. We can dive into the details of that as we go. So we don't switch that screen between Tommy and Boogie. Come off the next one. But on this ball screen, we're going to switch it. And it looks like we're expecting that, because now Boogie's looking around, seems to know what's coming next. He's on top, forcing the curl, which then initiates this switch. Condon said, okay, let me get back to the forward. You take this guard, who's the 3-man for Uconn. And then on this pin down is where we need a little bit more improvement. Get physical, get through it, don't run from contact. They got away with a lot of leans and last-minute steps. Kind of looked like an NBA game, which if you're going to let it play like that, then you got to take advantage of it. You can't cry about it all game long if they're not going to change how they're calling the game. So get through it, get physical. We don't do it. So now they're kind of playing out of that short roll that we talked about our offense doing. And that's fine. It's a great stop by Micah, make them pick up the ball. And he has a chance to get back in position here. I think he tries to play the right hand a little bit too much. I think he can go initiate some contact here, but he's open to the basket there. And that just allows Taurus Reed to take up that space. Still don't know how he finishes this with the right hand over Micah, but I think you could have cut that off a little earlier. Some more ice coverage on the side. Xavier Lee does a good job forcing him down. And see where Condon is compared to where Ruben was. That's probably the spacing or the amount of help they're looking to have on this ball screen. Just so you can't get that rhythm 2-dribble into the jump shot, warm up 3. The next level is the best way to counter this as the offense is to kind of pop your big. So they sit there and they're shot ready, because now that helps all the way down here. It's a long closeout, a long recovery to get here. So what a lot of teams you'll see do, this next defender's got to make a stunt. Make him think you're coming to help. Just to give him one more thing to think about. Next possession I'm going to highlight is just an awesome defensive possession. As a team, we do a really good job here flying around, taking away actions. Tommy's there to help. Look at the help on the screen. That Lee gets clipped by a lot of screens in this game. Tommy does a great job helping. Now, that puts Urban on a little bit of an island. He's got no choice but to get through. He shoots the gap, goes under, which is fine. If you're catching the ball this far out, that's a win for the defense. We go under on just about everybody in this game except for maybe 1 or 2 of their players. So we get there, we go under. Important to note, watch as they roll as we're going under. They're trying to get a piece of us just to make that screen a little bit bigger. It gets called once in this game, and it doesn't another time. I'll show you the difference and why. Florida does a great job on this possession. They are everywhere. They're defending every action with multiple people. People are helping each other. I think it's all about helping your brothers out on the court. If you're connected and flying around and I have your back, you have my back, that makes the defense really look good. Fantastic possession. So a lot of these switches, I highlighted it in my intro. Urban does a great job on ball and off ball, except in these situations where you got to communicate whether you're switching or not. It bit them in the Duke game. He was a big part of that botched coverage at the end for the 3 that won the game. Here, you see it again. Starts to go under. Now it's a debate. Are we switching or are we not? Looks like he told Tommy late to switch. That just kind of put us on our heels for the rest of this possession here. Now we've got Condon guarding the point guard. Not really what we want, but we're kind of settled. We're getting there. Gets through the screen. Let's see what we do here. Not really sure what the communication is. If they get close enough to touch, you can switch it. if you're saying there's no contact, so don't switch, then Condon's just got to do a better job staying in front, maintaining position. Here's a good emergency switch possession, and it forces a rush shot at the end. Just overall, another great possession. It's not perfect. Lee gets clipped a little bit. Ruben jumps off to help. That's great. Now we've got Urban trying to cheat the play a little bit too much. It gets him caught, and Xavier Lee calls for the switch. Urban's late, but Ruben sees it. Ruben takes one for his brother there. That's great. Xavier Lee now late because he switched it and hesitated because Urban hesitated. And as he gets through this screen, he goes under. He's there, takes the contact to the chest. Great job. Everybody's settled. Ball screen coverage. We get 2 on the ball. We get a great shift and tag from CJ Ingram here, because that short is what you want to do when you get 2 on the ball. He's there to take that away. Now he's back out to contest. Would love to see a little bit more discipline on that contest, but nonetheless, forces a rush shot. We get the ball. Great possession. So we talked about those screens. As you're going under, one piece of feedback I heard from refs a lot is you have to fight and continue fighting to get this illegal screen called. You'll see it here. Tommy's trying to shoot the gap and go under, and he keeps fighting. A little veteran move to hold the screener himself and pull him, make it a little bit more exaggerated, but nonetheless, he's fighting. The ref has no choice but to call that. It's a little late, but because he fought the entire way, that's why he gets the whistle. This is a play that looks good because it worked. We got lucky here. If this is a back screen, the way Ruben's been helping people, the bigs have been helping people on back screens out at the perimeter, you got to be able to help out here, Lee. At this point, your guy gets clocked. Number 3 is wide open under the rim. We're not there. Tommy wishes we switched it. He's pointing as if we should have switched. Lee jumps the pass, and again, it looks good because it worked, but the process isn't great here. Got to be a little bit more connected on this one. Urban and CJ Ingram botched switch on this possession. We're in transition. That's good. Anytime you get your defense set out of transition, it's a win. So now we got to make them work. So we got the freshman here calling for a switch, using his voice. I'm a big advocate. If it's called on the court, it doesn't matter what was called in the huddle. Fix it and then discuss it later and get it right. But because it's being called out here, Urban, you got to hear that. You got to see it. You got to do it. Stuck on an under here, and he doesn't keep fighting. So this is good to go with that other clip I showed with Tommy fighting the screen to get the foul call. He goes under there, and we're going to go under again here. Watch. Because he doesn't try to keep going under, it looks like he just hits the screen and stops. You've got to keep fighting. If you ever want a chance to get this call, you have to keep fighting it. Also address this in the intro. The defense that Urban played on the ball and off the ball for the most part looked like he took the challenge personally to step up his effort, step up his ability to guard. Watch him on this possession here. He's starting off in the corner over here. Guarding Uconn's best player. Gets through it, doesn't get screened. Causes a turnover. Condon gets caught sleeping a little bit here. They get a switch that they're good with because, again, they're treating Caravan as a guard. So they've got Tommy guarding him initially. This is really Uconn's 3-man. So Florida's okay with switching this if they have to. But Condon, after the switch, you can't just sit back and fall asleep because now it's a great shooter coming off a pin down, and you are dead to rights. Bailed out by a miss, but that's not a stop. Another thing with the guards rebounding, watch Lee's effort here. That's your man. If he gets this putback, that's 100% on you. And again, it works out because Condon gets the block right to where you're standing, checked out, and you get a chance to go the other way and make a transition play, which is cool and all, but man, that can really bite you in big games. Watch his effort and his rebounding here. This again, focusing on Lee. He's in the corner guarding their best player again. You cannot get screened. Tough players do not get screened. He gets screened. He gets killed. He's trailing. He's trailing. It's okay. So now we get settled. Okay, you got bailed out. But now you're clocking out again. Where's your guy going? No chance to be there for any sort of rebounding assistance. In fact, you drifted further away from the rim. Like that's a losing habit. I think Lee has a lot of winning habits, but that's a losing habit. When the shot goes up, you've got to get in the fight, man. Both these guards doing nothing to help their bigs out. This is pretty interesting. A lot of teams have switched to this. It's kind of been made famous by Auburn. They did it at such an elite level. They put their bigs on the ball, and no matter who's taking the ball out, they put the big there and they switch a lot of this action. So you're really being forced just to fight to get the ball in, not really run a play to score, which, again, if you can win the special teams because of that, that's a great move. It leads to some tough mismatches. Now you've got a pretty immobile 5-man in Micah guarding Caravan. And it's not the best matchup for us, but you live with some of the trade-off here. And unfortunate for us, that cost us 3 points. I think overall it's a really tough defense to take advantage of. You got to take step-back threes. You got to take stuff off the bounce and finish at the rim against a bigger defender. That's about the only way to really beat it. Another great possession here by Urban, guarding their best player. Don't have to be overly aggressive that far from the basket. He's in his hip. He's in his hip. He's on top of any screening action. So if they were to come to cut this pin down, which they've said a lot of, he's in a position to beat it. They try to cut him back door. Gets away with a little hold, but again, you got to fight. And the fact that he gets through those screens and gets back in front of the ball is really impressive, man. Side note, great stunt from Boogie. Talked about it with Tommy, not making that play to get in that gap, provide a little help. Boogie did a great job there. Have your brother's back every single time. Tommy didn't box out. Again, thankfully, we got some monsters down there that take care of the ball for us. We're in transition on this one. You don't have a man in transition. That's fine that you get cross-matched quite a bit when this happens. One of your favorite things to do as a big is to bury a guard. And Boogie, you can't run from this. At this point, you're locked in. You're engaged. And you're one pass away. You can't turn your back to the ball and ask for help. That is unacceptable. Same concept on defense. You got your big on the ball, switching everything out, so you've got some cross matches. Condon's asking for the switch out here from the freshman. I'm going to trust that Condon's got the right idea and he's communicating it, so I say do it. But now he's communicating back, and now we're just kind of scrambling. You can't be saying two different things. Put you in a tough spot. Leads to a mismatch, blow-by, layup. On this possession, we get to watch Xavier Lee guard some of these off-ball actions that we just were praising Urban for. And don't get it twisted, man. By the numbers, Urban's been our worst defender by far all season long. Coming into this game, I was wondering if his offensive trade-off was worth it. He flipped the script. He wasn't quite what he was on offense the past few games, but his defense was elite. Now you got Lee guarding some of those same actions that you just saw Urban getting through. Don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep. With Uconn, you got to be ready for all the actions all the time. Boom. Gets hit by the screen. Now he's trailing. Boom. Gets hit by another screen. Still trailing. Bucket. We talked about not having a man in transition. We talked about that offensive clip earlier. So, Ruben, you don't have a man. Sprint back. You got more. You're a better athlete than this. Get back. Start finding out who you're guarding. You only got 3 people back, and there's 4 offensive players. You're going to have to make a play for somebody else. You just can't run with no plan. That's got to be your rotation. Another possession with Lee on defense where he just gets crushed by screens. On offense, you're trying to make dominoes fall, and when it's this easy to make those dominoes fall by screening one player, why not run all your action at him? Hit him. He's dead. He's out of position. Now they're playing on their heels. They recover, but man, it just takes everybody out of position just that little bit. Now you're getting that same post up that I like for Ruben, where you have 2 feet pretty much in the charge circle, no move needed, and it's 2 points. The whole point of switching is to take the shot away, and you don't do it because you get killed. It's tough, man. It's a tough way to win. I thought I had talked about this clip earlier where Tommy could have provided more help. Remember when Boogie stunned it in that gap off that curled screen? Let's watch it here. Again, Tommy's going to be the one that can provide that help, and he doesn't. That pass goes, jump to that gap. Boogie stunned, and it killed this drive. Tommy stays hugged up. It's late in the game. Nobody wants their guy to beat him. I get that. But, man, what got you there was having your brother's back, man. Have your brother's back on that play. This one, it's a tough foul to take, in my opinion. I don't know if it came from the bench, but judging from the players' reactions, it came from the bench to foul here. Tarris Reed's a poor free throw shooter, and I agree. If you can foul him with 15 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds or more, and send him to the line for a 1-and-1 where you got a good chance, it helped you out in that Texas Tech tournament game last year, take it. It gets to the point where we're so late in the clock here on his catch. We're here. We haven't fouled yet. Looks like Ruben just now hears to go foul. But you got 6 seconds on the clock. A non-shooter is all the way in the NBA three-point line. And we go out and give him free throws. Everybody is looking at the bench. Ruben's pointing at who told him to foul. That miscommunication can't happen. To foul with 4 seconds on the shot clock, this far from the basket, in this kind of game, man, that's a botched possession there. So that's all I got, man. It's a tough loss. Had some opportunities down the stretch. I think that the defense needs to tighten up when crunch time comes to play, man. It's you can't be dying on screens, can't be getting clipped, can't fall asleep. Didn't hurt us too bad in this one, but you can't not box out. You can't show no effort on rebounding because that's going to cost you at some point in the season. Really impressive game plan, man. I thought Florida did a good job for the first 3 quarters of the game when didn't get what we needed down the stretch in crunch time, but no reason to think too much into this one. It's going to be good for us as long as our guys take the coaching. They take all the points that I'm sure that the staff's hammering home, and we're going to be all right. We'll keep winning once we get those habits established and get back to what we do.